Hey guys, I'm Jax and I just saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is a legacy sequel to the original Ghostbusters film. And just like you've come to either love or absolutely loathe from a good old classic legacy sequel, you've got your old classic legacy characters back. They're all there in the same costumes they wore 30 to 40 to 50 years ago. So yeah, they just rock up and they're all like, oh, we're all just Ghostbusters. Oh, let's do this. To counterbalance that, we have everyone back from the first legacy sequel, Afterlife. Everyone's back, all your favorites. The main curly-haired girl, she's back! And just like the first one, she's actually surprisingly really good. She's a really good actress. Her character's really, really fun. I love how nerdy and she's just so into busting ghosts. We also have her sidekick back, Podcast, his name is Podcast. What more do you want? And of course, rounding out the young cast, we have Mike from Stranger Things. No, sorry, that doesn't work anymore because he's not young anymore. He's horrifyingly old. I did not enjoy seeing how old he was in this movie. It upset me because, as he states so many times in this film, he's 18. In fact, that's his plot. His entire plot for this film is that he's 18. Well, plot is a bit of a stretch. It's not a plot. He says that he's 18 maybe twice, but regardless, every time he said he was 18 and I saw him and I was like, he was so little, like in a very short period of time ago in Stranger Things. And I know in Stranger Things he got older, but I love that show so much that like that initial shock hit me, but then I was just watching Stranger Things season 4 and I kind of forgot. I forgot that he didn't always look like that. But watching this, and this is my fault, I just watched it again, randomly for no reason. I don't know why, but he's a little than that. And it feels like that came out like yesterday. I know it didn't, but it feels like it came out yesterday. And so I saw Mike in this and I'm like, he's very old now. And I was just overwhelmed with this horrifying sense of dread and anxiety and fear and just this overwhelming sense that I was also very old and I am getting closer and closer to death. And each day, everything you want to do and have wanted to do, it's like the opportunities to do them, they keep slipping away and days and days pass and then months pass and then years pass and you look back and you're like, how did I get here? I am so old. Who are you gonna call? Probably my therapist? I just didn't expect this from a Ghostbusters movie. Like, I know it's about ghosts, but I don't really think I'd be thinking about the afterlife and death so very much. And just when I thought I had overcome my sense of dread and fear and the horrors of aging and all those horrible things, I was like, I'm watching a Ghostbusters movie. But as soon as I came back and I was like enjoying myself, Bill Murray rocks up and he's like, I'm here. I'm Bill Murray. And I'm not trying to be rude, but the man is an old, decrepit skeleton, a husk of a man. He's so old in this, it's crazy. It's gotta be the most expensive old man cameo that's ever been put to screen. Well, obviously excluding the last time he appeared in a Ghostbusters movie 3 years ago in Ghostbusters Afterlife. Of course, that would have cost more, because this time they just pay him the same, or maybe a little bit less, because this time he gets a little bit more drunk, and he's in it less, or maybe more. It's the same thing. He just rocks up, he's like, we're doing the Ghostbusters or whatever? Pay me. And he just like walks out. It's nothing, and I hate that aspect of the movie, just like I hated that in Ghostbusters Afterlife. But he got paid a lot of money to do literally nothing and stand around doing terrible improv. So I guess that's cool. I guess that's cool for him. But I'm not the biggest Bill Murray fan. I don't know. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I just feel like Groundhog Day is like a lesser version of every other Groundhog Day movie. Edge of Tomorrow, Happy Death Day, Palm Springs, probably a 4th and 5th and 6th example of better Groundhog Day movies. We shouldn't call it doing a Groundhog Day anymore. We should call it doing an Edge of Tomorrow, because it's so much better. I don't know it's not the first one, but who cares? This film doesn't care which came first. It's like, we'll do it again, but better. Wait, no, sorry. This film was like, we'll do it again. We'll bust ghosts again. But worse. Oh, way worse. Like, not way worse, just not better. Just not better. I thought of one. Just came to me. I realized Bill Murray's old man cameo in a legacy sequel. Well, sequel to a legacy sequel. It's not the biggest paycheck any old man in a legacy sequel has gotten. There's no way, because Harrison Ford appeared in Rise of Skywalker for like 2 minutes. Crazy. A whole movie in between where he wasn't in it as well. It's like he was out. He's like, I'm out. No more Star Wars for me. Indiana Jones all day, baby, but no more Star Wars. But they got him back. That paycheck, if I met him, that's what I'd ask. If I met Harrison Ford, that is the only thing I would ask. I'd be like, how much? Tell me the price that they said. And did they say a price and you said no? And then how many more times did they put a zero? Like, how many more zeros did they put on the original offer to come back for Rise of Skywalker? I'm super curious, because my lord, it would have been so much money. And I'm like Bill Murray, I love Harrison Ford. I'm a big Harrison Ford guy. So that makes me really happy. Like, I wasn't like, God, how much money did he get? Like, I kind of felt like this with Bill Murray because he sucks in this. But I also have no nostalgia for Ghostbusters, whereas I have all the nostalgia for Harrison Ford and everything he's ever been in. So I was like, oh my lord, that was crazy. Like, the scene doesn't make sense in Rise of Skywalker. It's like, he's essentially just talking to himself because he's not a Force guy. What is it? Not the video for it! But he did get paid a horrendous sum of money, and that makes me happy because I love Harrison Ford. Now he can fly and probably buy more helicopters. But enough about really old guys that I maybe love or don't love, depending on which old guy I was talking about. I love Mike. To be clear, I love old man Mike. He's great. He's tall and lanky and weird. It's like, look at him. He's just like a normal guy. Gosh, I do miss when he was younger, because then I was younger. Enough about old people! So on the opposite spectrum of old people, we have Paul Rudd, a man who is in this film. He's in this movie. I forgot he was in the other movie so much. Like, it starts, and he's like, I'm a Ghostbuster. I'm like, weren't you a dog? I guess he stopped being a dog. He was a big demon dog in the last one, but I feel like he was mostly a dog. Like, it's like, oh, Paul Rudd's in this movie. And then he becomes a dog very early on. Or maybe, I don't know. I remember him. I tried to rewatch it in hype for the sequel, and I was on Netflix. I'm like, oh, it's on Netflix. Oh, no, it's coming to Netflix when? 9 days after this sequel comes out. That's terrible timing, Netflix. What are you doing, Netflix? What is with Netflix doing just crazy stuff all the time about when shows are and not on Netflix? I can't speak. I'm so angry at Netflix. Sure, I could buy the DVD/Blu-ray. I'm not going to do that. Not for Ghostbusters Afterlife. That's a movie where I'm like, I pay for 7 different streaming services. And when I pay for 7 different streaming services, I expect, to be honest, I'm not trying to be a big old greedy glutton of content, but if I'm paying for, one is for sports. If I am paying for 6 streaming services, I expect to, at any given time, at least on one of those services, be able to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. Specifically, no other film. There's no other film is on this list of I have to be able to watch it at any given time. But I should, right? Like, we all... I have no interest in watching it now. It's going to come out in 8 days. I'm going to see it in 8 days. And I'm going to be like, I already saw the movie. I already saw the sequel. And it was like, I thought it was fun. I thought it was totally fun and serviceable. But it was a bit of a letdown. Like, I'm not still on a Ghostbusters high where I'm like, I've got to seek out all Ghostbusters content and get into my eyeballs. It's not like that. I want to watch the things previous in hype. This is the perfect time to license to buy the... There's so many things to talk about in this movie, but I feel like Netflix has made me so angry about a film I'm not reviewing that I don't even know if I can be bothered anymore. No, you know what? I'm back. I suddenly was like, try and think of some happy thoughts to get me back in. Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd always does the trick. I love that he hasn't aged since the 90s. We have so many old people in this movie. Everybody's old, essentially, except for Paul Rudd. He is the man is a vampire. The man is a vampire demon. Like, he's a very charming and lovable vampire demon, but he is a vampire demon. He's drinking that sweet, ageless Hollywood juice, just that sweet Hollywood juice they give a very select few people in Hollywood so they don't ever age. It's infuriating. Give me some of the juice, Paul Rudd. Why aren't you going to give me any of the juice? Why don't you give everybody the juice? Give everybody the juice. Start with me, obviously, because I'm your friend. I mean, I'm not your number one fan, because there's probably some weird psycho out there that's your actual number one fan. But I think you are totally cool, and He's very likable and charming, and he's very likable and charming in this, but that's Paul Rudd. Every character in this film has that, where I'm like, I love this person, and I like this movie because of that, but like, they're not doing anything in this movie to make me love them. Like, if I didn't know who they were, I wouldn't be like, wow, that guy, that's a guy I'm going to watch in other movies now. But they bring people in who I already have this preconceived notion of love, so I see them and I'm like, oh, they're the thing from the other thing. Not even a Ghostbuster thing, just like another thing. And I'm like, I like that. Let's list them. James Acaster. I haven't said his name out loud before. The comedian guy, this guy is on the screen. He's in it. We've got one of the guys from Silicon Valley. You know, the funny one. Not that funny one. Not that funny one. Definitely not that one. This one. And the guy who does the voice of Happy from the show Happy. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend watching the show Happy. It's horrifying. If don't actually, you know what? You're watching a Ghostbusters review. I don't know if there's crossover. It's incredibly gory and horrifying and just insane. It's so good though. Oh my god. But he does the voice of Happy. And they're just the new cast that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm sure there's even more. And of course, all the OG old school Ghostbusters and even more people who weren't even in the first one. There's a lady who rocks up and she's super old. And there's like a moment where she looks at the camera and like, she says a word and like the film like stops for a moment. And I'm like, are we meant, it feels like a sitcom where I'm meant to clap or cheer or like, this is really weird. This is like a scene in a sitcom like this. Who is this? Then I'm like, oh, I forgot for a second. I'm watching a legacy sequel. She's probably in the first film. The receptionist maybe. That, I don't mean to sound like that. I just know that there's a female receptionist in the first one. I think maybe. Vague recollections. So I'm like, it's her maybe? Or it's Bill Murray's girlfriend from the first one, but I'm pretty sure that's Sigourney Weaver. I think. I don't know. As I said, I tried to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. I also tried to watch Ghostbusters. Not on any streaming services. What are we doing here, guys? I mean, what am I even paying these streaming services for? Hundreds and hundreds and potentially millions of movies. I'm not trying to sound like a greedy boy. I'm not trying to sound like one might say, like a Slimer. Slime is also in this movie for a scene that feels like they put it in for the trailer to be like, Slime is in the movie. Now we can put him on the poster. And he interacts with Mike from Stranger Things. And Old Man Mike and Old Man Slimer are like, they have a scene and Slimer looks fantastic. It's like, that feels like it's practical, but it can't be. I can't wait for the Corridor Crew video to break it down and be like, CGI words, jibbity-jibba-doo. And I go, wow, filmmaking. I love filmmaking. It's so cool. The cast is stacked. But also, the cast is stacked. There is too many people in this movie. There are so many people in this movie. There's like 10 to 12 main characters, but in a lot of ways, there's 10 to 12 characters. Nobody really gets much to do. I feel like main curly-haired girl gets the most play. Some of the plot stuff just doesn't really work for me. The villain from the first one, I think once again, he rocks up, like turns around on a chair, and I'm like, that's the guy from the first film? I think that's the guy from the first one. The guy they don't like, I think. I think there's a joke about a dick, where he's like, you're Mr. Dick, or something. Maybe. I don't know. As I said, couldn't watch it again. I'm not going to buy it on Blu-ray. I'm just not going to. I'm too busy buying Dune again and again and again on Blu-ray, just so I have 1 million copies of Dune, because it's so good. It's not true. I bought one 4K, but it was pretty expensive. It feels like I bought 2 DVDs. So, I don't know. She's really great, and she's the main character, and she goes through a bunch of stuff, but I feel like just everything in this movie, I feel like it almost works, but it kind of doesn't in terms of the plot. Especially the main girl, but also Dan Aykroyd is kind of the second main character, I suppose. And unlike the first legacy sequel, Afterlife, I feel like he actually works in the story as a character. He works as this legacy character, but he's in the whole film, and he has like a plot and story, and he says words and stuff, and it's totally cool. And all of that really, really good. It's not until the end of the movie where Bill Murray rocks up, and everyone's like, "We're old people, and we're in the Ghostbusters outfits. Let's do a thing." And it's like, oh god, this again. And it's exactly the same as the first one. Well, sorry, the first legacy sequel. Third one? Fourth one? I don't know. We're not including that one. Are we? But the thing that really won me over was the visuals. I thought the visuals in this film was super fun. There are some crazy, awesome, interesting, unique ghosts. Some of the ghosts are really fun. The designs and stuff are super cool. The big bad of this frozen demon monster creature thingy, looks spectacular. The whole third act looks so good. The visual effects, the practical stuff blended with CGI. Like there's a Slimer bit that looks so good. Like just love all the visuals. Everything looks so awesome. There's particularly one little ghost that like is this little red spark that just flicks around, and everything it hits, like any inanimate object it hits, it like possesses. And there's a really fun plastic bag, garbage bag sequence where it's running away. Just really had a lot of fun with that. I don't know, it's just fun, light, ghost-related romp. But I wonder if you're like really invested in this universe, if this is just not good enough. Because it feels like an episode of the week, like a monster of the week for a TV show, but just with a really big budget. And I had fun with that. Like, it's not good though. It's not good. It's totally fine. Who cares? Lots of people care. I know. I understand. Lots of people care.